Which one's first? Boneyard. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Jaraci Cup 7. Continuing now our coverage of the group stage. We're jumping back into a group stage A game between AGameAnx and MarchWaden. And this one I am very hyped for. Definitely going to be the closest game we've seen so far. But I just want to see how MarchWaden compares to A-Game. Because this may well be what we see in the finals. It's going to be CVK here. Let me check out the picks. So A-Game is going to pick first. Picks up Coalition, and MarchWaden going to respond with ConF. And A-Game going to pick the Boneyard here. He gets what I would consider to be the favorable spawn, but I do love rail rushes. That's not necessarily doctrine. But he's not playing around with build orders this time. He's going to go for AV rush, I think. No? Because he should have LAV tech started already if that's what he's doing. Oh my, what is this? This might be a retire into... this might be a retire into SC first, actually. Oh yeah, that's a good point, actually. Boneyard alt win. Ref mode first going to be coming out for MarchWaden here. And it is indeed going to be Sport Cruiser first for AGameAnx. He actually hasn't saturated the main though, he's instead going to go heavy on CUs here, so this is kind of interesting. And LAV Fab comes out, so it looks like he's going to be playing for LAVs, because obviously if he wasn't, he'd be getting these RUs already. MarchWaden, meanwhile, going to be going for Skimmer Fab before Salvagers, so he's not playing this greedy, which is good to see. Against a player like A-Game is the kind of player who he will punish greed if he knows that you do it badly. I'm always afraid to go ref mode first against him, because, yeah, he'll just kill me. Yeah, no, you didn't get probed, so this is a little blind, but... You are in luck, though, because obviously this is ref mode first for MarchWaden. Finder mode finishing now, and both players more or less even on their eco. A-Game with a slight advantage, but you would expect Coalition to have that. And he is going to build another LAV before he fills out that last Salvager. As well, MarchWaden getting a Sand Skimmer, or two in fact. And he'll just want to scout out and see what's going on. He retired his base printer too, so obviously both of these players playing it a little blind here. They want to be sure they don't, you know, just die to something silly. AV tech on the way. But no carrier production upgrade, so he's not actually playing as heavy into LAVs as I expected he would. Aye, that be true. Because obviously you've got 4 guys on here, but he's still got 3, right? The question is, like, though, if he doesn't have scout, how is he gonna punish it? And maybe there's a case here for, like, this is why you shouldn't retire base runners or something, but I don't know. Definitely, if both of you do it, though, it seems you are ahead here. This Sand Skimmer overextending a little bit here, but he may not get punished for it. So they kind of bounce off of each other, but MarchWaden does have the advantage there. AV Fab was cancelled and restarted in favor of a carry production upgrade. So it looks like A-Game is going to be behind in the Skimmer war for a little bit. He doesn't have, obviously, AVs to fight them. But he's going to move straight to his opponent's enemy base. Oh my gosh. Look at this. This is pretty aggressive, so... Yeah, well, you're sure in luck. He hasn't gone for tech yet. Fighting over the SC though, as well, you would expect you to win this, but actually MarchWaden gonna win the trade a little bit here. Well, wow, this Sport Cruiser has a lot of range. Manages to pick off one of the Sand Skimmers at that point. Jetpack is a total miss there, but you can see A-Game really doesn't want to lose this. He's committing jetpacks into it, but it's not really the biggest deal though, I think. And MarchWaden sees this carrier, so he knows about its position. So you gotta think, oh no, he accidentally pulled this PC here. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But taking Sand Skimmer upgrades, that's not gonna work here. I think he needs to go either power reserves or railguns, preferably both if he had the money, but he's not going to. However, if A-Game is leaving his base, you can punish if you can win the Sand Skimmer majority. So I understand the Armor 2 choice here, but I think he really needs to be getting into rails. And yep, there they are on the queue. A-Game just going to try to abuse the fact that Coalition can defend decently well with those support cruisers. But he is losing quite a few cells on this base, but that will be the end of this push, more or less, because obviously these skims here are all gonna die. They do get three cells though. They're not gonna catch this fourth. And now it's up to these PCs and the carrier basically to defend on their own. Power Reserve 2 is on the way though. I like that. And it is difficult to carrier rush against Conf. But we'll see. This could for sure be the build that does it. He is replacing cells, or at least one. Rail Fab on the queue for him. But Rail Fab is done for MarchWaden, and we have Assaults coming out. Obviously, Assaults better against these AVs probably than Heavies would be, but they'll probably be worse against the carrier. They do, however, force the carrier to put power into armor, because otherwise they're going to actually do quite a lot of damage to it. So in a sense, this seems okay to me. At any rate, he's not going to suffer against these AVs here. But if AGame does get Rail Fab done and starts building those, he'll wish he had rails to counter. Bit of economic mayhem being inflicted here by AGame. He's also in range of this assault rail, but he probably won't get a kill there. I agree. These LAVs, by the way, who killed the sand skimmers there, obviously he traded those for the salvagers, but it's starting to look kind of bad because now they're up here in the fight. And AGame pushing up here onto the second base too. He's kind of spreading MarchWaden a little bit thin. Rail Fab is done. First railgun is out too. He's going to start building some LAVs also. I mean, this is tricky, because obviously, anytime that his carrier's here, he's not only rushing, but he's ahead on eco, right? So, this is going to be tough for MarchWaden. This is going to be tough indeed. I'd love to see more power in these cruise missiles, because he really wants to be hunting down these rails. And then a couple of heavy railguns here, I think, would go a long way. As it stands, he's trying to get hits on it, but he can't quite find that railgun, so AGame doing a good job of dodging so far. And I don't know what exactly is going on here, but... Huh. Well, they do more range, though, that's for sure. I think you want to have the power in the missiles, eh? I could be wrong about that, though. Yeah, look at that. Reload is actually the same. And the range is only 100. Wow. Okay, I eat my words again. Man, MarchWaden should just teach me how to play this game. This is looking still pretty precarious for MarchWaden, though. Again, no heavy rails means these assault rails can be sort of forced out of the fight by his opponent's railguns. Sand skimmers as well, he doesn't have the majority, and these LAVs have got the upgrades on him as well. Or no, they don't. MarchWaden has the upgrade advantage here. But you can still see, this is kind of tough for MarchWaden to get back into this. Now his opponent is actually not mining RUs here, he's just doing CUs. But I think the way that MarchWaden really wants to attack this game is to try and hold a standoff here and backstab. I think that's probably what he wants to do. Yeah, that's kind of what maybe not even force the base trade, but just like 3 assault rails over here are not going to be deflected by these AVs. Now you force the LAVs to leave, and then maybe you can push on these rails, but... As it stands, though, getting power 3 is not a bad call. This is a lot of assault railguns. He's actually going to commit all of them into this. And that means these LAVs might have a difficult time defending. Maybe he uses this to get back up onto 3 base when we stabilize into a more standard mid-game, but we'll have to see. Assault pack getting teched by AGame now. That's a really good tech to deal with assault rails. You want to close the distance as fast as you can. There is another support cruiser out for, there's another support cruiser out here for AGame. And, MarchWaden, instead of going for another PC, it looks like he's actually going to try to push on this. Uh-oh, this is not the terrain that assault rails are going to enjoy very much. He is denying third. That's true, but I don't know. This seems like a little bit risky to me. Yeah. Also, he's kind of going to get wreck blocked if he gets... Oh, no. It's really close to this dune right here. I mean, one boost and these LEVs are going to be on top. Yeah, and that's what A-Game's gonna do. These guys need to kite immediately, and they need to spread, probably. Oh, dear. Ooh, yeah, he's all on top of him now. This is exactly how the LEVs want to engage. They want to get up on top of these assault rails. And now they've got the nice surround on them, there's no way he gets any of these guys out of this. That being said, these skims could maybe trade for the rails and then leave, but... he's not going to go for that. Instead, trying to thin down the LEV numbers. Yeah, it definitely is. And then also the carrier being here, like, it feels good if you can win that fight, but now that your army's dead, all of a sudden you're just like, oh man, I could have been on 3 bases this whole time. It doesn't feel great, does it? The army value has just swung massively, and A-Game is now ready to make his push across the field, but he's also got a support cruiser here to get up onto 3 base, and I think that puts him ahead in every metric. Except artifacts, I guess. They're tied there. This is a big railgun army here, and they have Mag Excel, they have Armor 1. I don't know what to do at this point. This is looking pretty grim for MarchWaden. LEV upgrades coming out as well. I'm a fan of this. You either want to go, I think, for max out the LEV upgrades or start maxing out the armor upgrades and build AAVs with it. But I think against this, I think you could really do... you could do well with LEVs, basically, like, if you can get the Sand Skimmer majority here. And we already know the assault rails have been really thinned out right now, so it's a good call to go for LEVs here, I think. That, or he could go for another tech and move on, like, further down the tree. And yeah, he's gonna do that, so Fighter and Gunship coming out now. MarchWaden as well gonna do the same thing with Con F Siege, but it's gonna be tricky. I think actually Honor Guards would maybe be a better call here, but... yeah, because I'm figuring skimmers too, but... oh dear. The thing is, like, I think you can fight the skimmers with the LEVs, but if they have honor guards behind them, you won't, but... AC 130. Oh yeah. Bring the red, you know what I'm saying? Although you're not so balanced, so I guess it's not quite the same. This backstab, though, this is actually problems, and remember, these are full upgraded skims, so... However, I'm not sure if it'll matter, because, like, obviously A-Game is doing pretty well on this front here. Power 3 on the way for him, too. So third base deny gonna come out from both players now. Can A-Game defend against these skims? I think he can with the with this many LEVs. But A-Game's ability to push, I think, is just much better. And obviously, when Fighter and Gunship is finished, yeah, we're gonna see that gunship come out. That's gonna be really bad, because then those skims can't really go anywhere that they don't have anti-air coverage. Limits his ability to backstab so hard. And that gunship is already on the queue, power 3 being teched as well. And for now, the carriers are trading damage pretty evenly, but this is so many railguns, you gotta imagine that's not gonna stay that way. These sand skimmers, they're flying across the desert. They want to see if they can get a trade in with these rails. This looks a little desperado to me, right? I think you do this when you really don't think you have another choice. Otherwise, you wouldn't. Indeed, both of these assault rails go down. He can't really get in there. And we're probably not too far away from a GG at this point for MarchWaden. Well fought for, but A-Game has definitely wrangled control here. And I think those assault rails dying there, that was definitely like the turning point here. I think before that I would have said MarchWaden was kind of ahead. But I think he built too many of them. And indeed, this is what A-Game was saying as well. Who's gonna come out here too, along with that gunship, you know, weakening all of these LEVs. He wants to come in here and get the kills. That's what he's in for, is the blood. Kind of Siege though, gonna ward him off, but he gets about half that blob dead. And with that gunship here, these rails are not even really exposed. He can't push on them. The entire skim blob is essentially neutralized. So now it's Con F Carrier plus 1 Con F Siege to attempt to defeat all of this. I don't see it happening. Missile ship fab on the way. I mean, he's got to do it, but this is kind of getting to fantasy GG timing area at this point. Not that that's a bad thing. I like it when players stick in to the very end. But this is definitely not looking good for MarchWaden. Double Barrage gonna come out now. Oh, but he cancels it. Ooh. That's a bit of a yikes. Kind of a bit of a waste of that cooldown. Now he wants to be careful with these kind of siege as well. He gets the carrier fairly low. But he can't really get anything done here. And he may in fact lose this kind of siege as well. No, he keeps this one alive, but it's going to take a while to recharge. Or reheal, that is. Meanwhile, these LEVs, they could go for a legendary backstab if they like. He can't just end the game right now. He can't just kind of right-click on his opponent. He may still lose that, but it's not going to be long before MarchWaden just doesn't really have anything left. In fact, this carrier taking damage right now. It's really unfortunate as well. He's building a couple strike fighters also. Although I would maybe go for tac bombers. That'd be pretty crushing at this stage. But these LAVs can just go in for damage. They want to kind of dodge the missile ship, it looks like, but then again, just sitting here, he kind of like forces his opponent to deal with it, which kind of will give him the second base. But it's not like there's anything here that could really kill them, so. And then I think if you're A-game, like, you're really sitting pretty here. I think just save up for power 5. And yeah, sure enough, power 4 is on the way. You could maybe go for artillery, but I don't think you really need it. Your opponent is completely locked down here. I would have liked to see him move up, though, and, like, take these rails to, like, the dunes are not so favorable for rails pushing here, but if he could force his opponent off of that second base, he would have been really Gucci, but indeed, we're actually starting to mine out the main. Ooh. You gotta imagine that favors A-game quite a bit here, because obviously he's on his third. Power 4 on the way now. Siege wants to make a push here, but he really can't push. I see why he thinks he needs to, but it's not gonna happen here. Triple barrage comes out, but the rails are pretty well split, and they do have support cruisers on them, so armor 2 as well. That's gonna feel really nice. And just a little backstab there. He's gonna start forcing his opponent to just juggle too many balls, I guess, until he drops one. Kind of siege extra range actually allows for such pokes. Yeah, that's true. I was surprised he didn't lose any here, but he didn't get any kills either. He just got a little bit of carrier damage, but there's a lot of kind of siege at this point. He's spamming. He's doing his best. But it's not going to fare too well if these rails just hold this position. And eventually MarchWaden will mine out the main, and what do you do then? One kind of siege getting popped here as well. That's really unfortunate. He really can't afford to lose any units at this point. This carrier actually taking a fair amount of damage, but it's going to trade that damage for another kind of siege, and this could easily be healed back up. And A-game all of a sudden using everything he's got in this one push. He clears out most of the anti-airs, so these strike fighters are able to come in and hit for some serious damage. Power 5 going to finish in 10 seconds. That's a really convenient timing for him. And he is even going to finish off this kind of siege if he's targeting it. Yeah. And now MarchWaden finds himself with no army, really. Nuke is going to come in probably in a moment now, like right there. And that should be all she wrote for MarchWaden. And A-game wrangling this game away from him. He is going to take the advantage in the series. Start things off 1-0. And I suppose we can watch it in full cinematic glory, eh? Get a little bit closer. Beautiful. And that will be the end. Good game though, that was exciting. It was crazy how it started with like this carrier push from A-game, and then MarchWaden pushed his carrier down, and then we came back into this situation. But yeah, A-game definitely, after those assault rails died, it felt pretty done and dusted. But good for March for sticking in that long. Let's go ahead and jump into game number 2. But I've got to say, he clearly has thought more about these things than I have. Like when we're talking about Con F here. I didn't think ARs could kill carriers that fast. I didn't think Power 2 on missiles was like a bad investment. He's showing me up. This time gonna be a GVK. I think that's pretty fun. Who had the pick first? So MarchWaden picks Con F. AGame is gonna pick Galzian, and MarchWaden picks into Firebase Krill. And GVG, of course, I talked about before, requires some really tight timings. And MarchWaden was doing some interesting stuff before. He was kind of going for, like 2 PC before tech to just get like the Sand Skimmer majority when he was playing these games against, who is that? Let's Rock, right? Be interested to see if he does that again. I wonder if he suffers if his opponent goes for tech, but that remains to be seen. But AGame, keeping the base runner and the PC, I think he's going ref mode here. And that is really unique. Because currently, I didn't think this was really a viable build in GVG, but here we go. We're going to see what it can do. He's a little bit oversaturated on CUs, but that happens when you do this. You could quick drop right now, but he sees it. And that's going to be ref mode first in a GVG. Assault Ship Fab teching pretty quick here for MarchWaden. I think you can do that a little bit faster. But he didn't move this PC out, and I really wish he had. Perhaps he feels he's not able to out-micro AGame skims, and GVG can be very decided on like micro in an initial skim fight, but I will say though, this map, very good for assault ships, as they can kind of sit on like these areas in the early game. In the late game, I start to think rails are pretty nice here, but only problem is he's so far back. He's not pushing with this PC. And so I have a feeling he's going to let this ref mode go unpunished here. Skimmer Fab done for A-Game. He's going to start producing those immediately, as you would expect. And he'll probably move the carrier onto the second base by the look of things. My build is garbage. Okay, yeah. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, is this really GVG meta? This can't be, can it? But he agrees. Like the timings and all that? Yeah, I also think you're pretty slow on this. But certainly Base Runner has to retire if you do this kind of build, right? Skins are going to come in here for a bit of pressure and vision. Sees these guys on the high ground, but he can't really push. But he sees this carrier, he knows there's no tech. This, though, I think a little bit of a throw here. As he is going to lose 2 skims, I think, for nothing. Well, maybe this guy gets out. But he's got the armored units he wants to push, and it looks like the angle he sees he's going to push for is up here. He knows about that scanner, though, so he knows that A-Game's going to have the vision on him. MarchWaden still with no armor upgrades. That's the thing that I'd love to see him get next. Has he got fleet cap? Yeah. So that would be really good to get. Obviously, the armor upgrades are very important for keeping the armored units alive against this carrier, who can otherwise pretty much chunk them out with its guns. But also, if he would leave like one assault ship over here to deny mining while he did this push, he pulls the carrier back. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because otherwise, like, how do you fight against a rail rush? AR still own this plan? And this is what you said you were going to be working on for, like, the next variant of patch, right? To try and fix that ref mode is really not an option. Uh-oh. Yeah, he's got everybody together here, and this makes things difficult for him, because he can't really be pushing on that second base as much as he'd like to. Still, though, high ground here is going to be really nice if he wants to take it. And he will win this skimmer fight. Ooh, he's taking this a bit awkward, though. I think he's actually going to lose this. Uh-oh. 3-on-3 still, but he's got the health bar advantage, does A-Game. He's going to continue to push here. And the thing is, the carrier comes in to help defend against that. That's when you want to send these assault ships in again on the flank. And then send one guy off onto the side over to here. But he does get that worker, you're right. And, oh no. Oh no, he accidentally moved the carrier out here. That's really unfortunate. But still no armor 1 on these PCs. He's not going to be able to push. Oh, that's really a shame. Because right now, he's got all the pressure on the map. But if you accidentally move your carrier like that, you lose a lot of value. Railgun Fab coming out from A-Game as well. That's going to allow him to defend against these assault ships really nicely. Doesn't just need, he doesn't just need, like, his carrier. Like, that's the only thing that can do anything about this. Once he gets that rail tech, so... MarchWaden could keep up the attack here, make this a one-base rails play. But he probably should be looking to get ref mode, but he hasn't done either right now. And so this is really kind of slowing him down. I think he actually had good pressure, right? He forced his opponent to delay this ref mode for so long. But that tech is just not coming out of him. I don't know what he can get done now. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. Skimmers from A-Game heading out here to try and deny that base runner. There is an assault ship, but this is quite a few skims. This too now, yeah, Let's Rock should be able, or sorry, MarchWaden should be able to get this one out. Huh. Well, you do have tech, but you haven't built any, I guess. I mean, the thing is, actually, MarchWaden can sort of close into this pocket if there are no rails built. He's got that tech. Certainly he wants to have at least one. He's gonna try and push on these assault ships. Oh no. Ay. I don't know what the idea there was. That's like 4 assault ships. And here comes the first assault rail. But if these assault ships can get like here, maybe there's a chance they still have like a bit of pressure on him, but... Yeah, this whole series, man. First extract comes out from MarchWaden now. And I actually like heavy rails in this situation because it allows your skims to fight back a little bit. But I agree, first game was pretty cool. Like the way that it evolved into a late game was really interesting. MarchWaden's getting more armor upgrades though, and he's close to pinching this main base. I think he can do it. This carrier out of position here. Power is in speed. It's trying to get back as fast as it can, but actually MarchWaden is getting up here. He's killing some assault rails. Now he probably wants to focus these salves. Dep packs being thrown by A-Game. He is going to lose a lot of army for this, but how much damage does he get? That's going to determine whether this is worth it or not. Definitely wants to be targeting this AR though. The PC is here too, so we still have frontline production. He is also extracting. Oh man, this is suddenly getting pretty hype. Because I can't tell who comes ahead of this trade. MarchWaden obviously losing most of his army here, but A-Game losing most of his eco, so A-Game should have the push now at this point, but can he really do it if he doesn't have any salvagers at home? Oh man. This is actually a huge amount of damage. And A-Game is going to choose to GG. MarchWaden takes the game. Wow. That's crazy. Dang. You know what? Keeping this PC in the front line, that's what made this push work. And I was saying like he really just needs to go back and get ref mode or something, but that won him the game. I take it back. These units are all invisible until I hover over them. Anyway, that was really interesting. Not often we see ref mode in GVG, but yeah. Well, good games, good series. Excited to see these guys in the brackets. But I guess I'll catch you next time. And that will